cost reimbursement contracts. So the concept here is the contractor is paid for expenses incurred working toward the scope of work, up to whatever the agreed upon total estimated cost is. In this case, the financial risk is on the sponsor, not the performer or not the seller, as a corporate sponsor would look at you. This is the appropriate method of contracting when there are uncertainties in contract performance. For example, it is common in the sponsored research arena, universities performing sponsored research, to not be able to guarantee that you will be able to achieve particular results. You can certainly work towards performing certain experiments, doing the work, but you can't guarantee what the results will be because it's research. It's uncertain. The whole point of the exercise is to find out, can we prove out our hypothesis? The commercial sector often is looking for guarantees of success. We all know that that's not something we can guarantee. They're used to buying things that they know for a fact they're going to receive. So right there you often have a mismatch in expectations on what the way universities look at research and kind of the type of work universities normally do, nonprofit institutions and so forth, versus how the commercial sector looks at it. The government, the U.S. government, recognizes this, and they have, while I'm not going to be looking specifically at FAR clauses here in this presentation, they do have FAR clauses and instructions, and recognizing that cost reimbursement is an appropriate method of contracting when you have uncertainties. So you may find yourself less able to convince a commercial sponsor to give you or issue you a cost reimbursement contract because of the way they look at things. They want guarantees. You may not be able to provide them, and that's where you have to try and negotiate to a common ground. So, universities tend to prefer cost reimbursement contracts over fixed price because when you run out of funds, you stop working. There's very low financial risk to the institution, and it's consistent with institutional financial systems. The downside of cost reimbursement is that you get rebudgeting restrictions. There's a concept of unallowable costs. There's required financial reporting, closer scrutiny on whether you're doing the work, and you have audit requirements that you wouldn't have under a fixed price contract. So just to clarify this a little bit, most of the grants and cooperative agreements we receive as nonprofit institutions from the federal government are cost reimbursement. You don't really see this term used in federal grants and cooperative agreements, but they are cost reimbursement. That's the basis for payment. For example, monthly in arrears. We invoice or draw down from the government after we've incurred the expense. And our financial systems are really designed around a cost reimbursement model. Most institutions prefer cost reimbursement and will often request cost reimbursement if offered a fixed price contract. But now that you better understand the difference between a fixed price or cost reimbursement agreement, you can probably see why a sponsor, especially a commercial sponsor, would prefer to issue a fixed price contract. For example, would you even remotely consider having your house painted on a cost reimbursement basis? I mean, if you think about it, no sane person would simply pay a contractor to spend money with no accountability for how much work they were going to accomplish for a particular amount of money. That's why fixed price is cost reimbursement contracts are generally limited to research development type activities with a non-profit entity. You just don't normally see cost reimbursement in the for-profit sector.